Hello, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Good morning, good, whatever. I hope you are well, and welcome back to another Lucy Davis Live. We are live on both YouTube and Faceache, my favourite platform, if you couldn't guess. So if you're on Faceache, I apologise. I never come back to it. If you're on YouTube, we will talk about your comments because I can see them as we are live. It is 5 o'clock on or just after 5, should I say, on the 19th of September. Now, today's been quite a big day, I've heard. I haven't really been paying too much attention, but apparently today's been quite a big day. So I am going to welcome in my good pal, Mr. David Mahoney, to have a little chat with me, because this little wanderer has been trying to keep up with my movements, haven't you? Flying all around the world and stuff.
Yeah, I've been giving it a good go. I don't think I have as many countries under my belt as you actually. You told me once we were sitting somewhere. You just happened to throw out some astronomical figure. How many countries you've been to, and you're excited to tick off Gibraltar when we went in there, saying there's another one.
Yeah. I've done. I think it's 87 countries now.
Yeah, I haven't done anywhere near that. But hello, everybody, wherever you are, and very happy to be on board again. It's it's probably my favorite interview of the week. Because of the fun, and actually we in sharing the stuff that we've been decoding between the phone calls and text messages and traveling. It's quite an interesting show, this, and the comments are very funny as well, aren't they?
I think people like to give us as much shit as we give each other on the comments. My favourite comment last week, David, was some man basically said Mahoney's lusting after Lucy.
Lusting after Lucy.
That was my favourite comment. So whoever it was that posted that, you're my favourite, because it's just so funny that funny. People are continuing to have that jam, But that's okay. We're okay with it. We're big enough and ugly enough to deal with that, aren't we?
Yeah. No, I'm all right with that. I think it's the band, and we're both of us smiling from ear to ear. It's like seeing when we see each other. I've noticed it's like, oh, this is great. Where we're going to go next? Because I never know what you're going to hit me with.
I know.
And I absolutely love that, because it keeps me really sharp. And it's not often I can meet anybody that can hit the tennis ball back across the net of humor as fast as you can. And some of the
I like to keep you on your toes, Mahoney.
Some of the outtakes we've got, folks, are very, very funny. I've started going through the footage now, Lucy. Now that I've got my new laptop and I've got the right program on it, I've started putting some stuff together. Maybe I'll have a rough cut by the time we get to Soul School this weekend of episode 1. We'll see how it goes, if I can find the time. This is my 3rd interview today, though, so it's not easy finding the time, especially with my busy socials calendar,
And all of this gallivanting that you're doing. So you were here. In fact, before I go on to that, you've mentioned Soul School. So let's just talk about that really quickly. Soul School is happening this weekend, coming the 24th of September. I am so freaking excited. I'm like on one at the moment. David's obviously as one of the speakers. He's in one of the groups that I've got going on, and I'm like bombarding them today with information. This is what's happening. This is when it's going to happen. This is where it is. This is the running order. Like, I'm buzzing. This is what I got put on the planet to do. Believe it or not.
Well, you're very organized. I have to say, it's very professional. I don't know how you find the time with everything else going on, but it's looking great. And you know what, Lucy, as I've done so many of these, going into venues with like-minded people and getting up and not preparing, just getting the microphone and going. But I have to say, I am slightly intimidated by this. I've got to tell you, because you're so advanced in some of the fields that you're talking about. I really have to sit there like this and go, okay, hang on a second. So it's going to take a commitment by me to just not be in control for once and hand the rails over to somebody else. And the reins, sorry. So I'm excited for that, and all of the knowledge, and obviously the people there, because I think you've assembled, from what I've been reading in between the lines, some absolutely astoundingly talented people. So I'm excited for it.
It's nice that you're a little bit nervous, for want of better words, because I think that means that it means that it's important to you. You're
It is.
passionate about it. So for me, that's extremely flattering, and I'm really grateful. And I know that we've obviously had a couple of conversations whereby you've been like, Lucy, this is your event. You know, I'm just going to do whatever you need me to do, I'll do. And it's really beautiful that you've surrendered to that. But quite honestly, every single person that's coming, speaker or non-speaker, I just need them to show up and be present. Because if you can surrender the whole running around and having to contribute and, you know, needing to be gassing to people and all the rest of it, you know, if we can just surrender that for one day, there's plenty of time to do that afterwards, then we're all going to be able to go on such a catastrophic shift. And I know a lot of people are feeling quite nervous because I've been actually setting up the protection, because it's literally just across the road from my house. I've been setting up the protection and working the grid underneath it and everything that's going around it for the last 2 weeks. So it's really, really, really exciting what's going on. And I can feel the energies like pumping as it's happening here. And obviously that will get pushed much higher come Saturday morning when everybody is here and we're going in. So I'm excited that you're a little bit nervous. I think you're going to have a huge shift.
Yeah, it's nervous. I wouldn't say nervous, but if you see it, well, actually, the word in Spanish is the same. It's excitement, really. I'm like the Christmas morning feeling before you open the gifts as a kid. You know, I'm.
Get me there already. Get me
Yeah,
there
yeah,
already.
like one of those sort of feelings. A lot of the events I go to, I'll go in and just do what I have to do, and then I'll just skedaddle and leave. Sometimes I have to do 2 the same night, so it's flying across the city to another venue to do the same thing again or something similar. But to actually participate in something, I mean, even actually Huna's on here tonight. Huna Flash, how are you, Huna? With Huna's burning mask all over Europe, because I was more or less doing most of the microphone work and participating in parts of it. It's going to be nice to just switch off, and so I can absorb the message and the downloads, really, the code. So I'm excited for that, Lucy. Thank you so much for inviting me. How much do I owe you? Do you want me to make a transfer now? It's like $5,000.
Yeah, you know, we'll sort that out. We'll sort that out. So Mahoney,
Yeah,
I'm excited for you because your feet were actually on UK soil this weekend just gone, right?
they were, and I was actually grounding a lot. I took my shoes off a lot so I could get a good feeling for what was going on. It's very solemn and grey and glum was the overall energy that I was picking up. People's kind of shaking their heads, not knowing what's going to happen next. I got this sadness. It made me sad. You know, coming from that geopolitical background where most people are saying the Queen's always been evil, I never felt, well, I'm not going to use my personal opinion, but what I'm saying is when her death was announced, I didn't get that overjoy jumping out my chest saying, yeah. I felt an overall sadness. And I think I can put this down to the feeling of how many people were sad. And last night at the airport, I was in Bristol Airport, and at 8 p.m., they came on the tannoy. It said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to observe 1 minute of silence for the passing of our Queen, Elizabeth II. And then sure enough, as it came up, I positioned myself on a higher part. So I was filming down and watching people's reactions, because that moment in that airport was a piece of history, just to see how people's reactions were. And it was like somebody just put the pause button. There's 2 guys in yellow jackets walking along. They just went, froze. And then a lot of people in the seats stood up. And the people that didn't stand up, I saw 4 or 5 of them on the same flight. They weren't English or they weren't British. Then at the end of it, there was a small round of applause behind. And then I spun the camera around and said, well, I've just recorded a moment that reflects the mood of the people. Half of them were sad, half of them were obliged by it. You know, another little bit didn't take any notice of it. And then the police came up and said, what am I filming? Cops came over.
Really? How interesting.
But rather than bashing the police, I'm going to say, if for some crazy reason somebody knows them, they were super polite. And I said, I know you're thinking, what's this guy doing? And he said, did you have us in a bit of that frame? I said, I did. I just started there and panned that way just to give it a bit of an effect. Said, you're very welcome. If you don't like any of the footage, I'll erase it for you. And I sort of showed it to him. And he said, well, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm recording a moment in history. We're never going to see this again. This moment at 8 o'clock tonight in Bristol Airport, the public's reaction. I said, it's very interesting. This. And he said, are you a blogger? So I thought, oh God, he's going to ask me this. So I said, yes. So I went to one of my real soft, cuddly ones, like, do you like kittens and fluffy? Do you like walks on the beach?
You must send me that. I've never seen one of those,
No,
Mahoney.
I showed him one of my softer ones, not the hardcore stuff. And I said, yeah, that's me. I do a little bit of internet work. And then when I went to the gate, the two cops at the gate again, I thought, oh God, they've obviously gone and searched Mahoney, and but no, nothing. I just said, no, don't get that fear energy coming in here. Just ignore them, and everything was smooth.
Well done.
Yeah. So it was smooth, but I got back at what time I got back to Malaga?
You told me.
Go on. What was it?
2:30 a.m.
No, 2:22.
Oh, you told me 2:30, so you lied to me. Of course it was 2:22. What else would it be?
That's why I was smiling. Of course it would be that, wouldn't it? So the overall feeling of the British public was sadness, Lucy. There's a couple of little stories I've shared, but I felt their grief, and I felt their confusion and sadness, and saying, and slightly unknowing what the future is gonna bring. So and I haven't watched a single moment of any of the services, even while I was in the UK. I didn't turn the TV on at all. So I don't know what's going on. I think she's being moved right now. So no clue.
Okay. Well, I actually feel that the perspective that you've shared for the British public is actually very, very fair. What I found very interesting, so today the funeral, I believe, took place at 11 o'clock this morning. That's what I was told. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, because a bit like yourself, David, I haven't watched anything. However, what I did this morning is I ran from where I live in Bournemouth all the way to Sandbanks and back, and it was the normal kind of busyness of that. But then I came back here, got changed into my swimming wear so that I could go for a sea swim, even though everybody thinks I'm absolutely batshit crazy by doing that. And it was bloody freezing this morning, just so you know. It was absolutely freezing. I was like, shit, this is getting really cold. This is going to take such a huge amount of dedication going forwards, but I will do it. So yeah, basically I went back down there and it was empty. Now, bearing in mind, it was beautiful. It was a gorgeous, gorgeous morning this morning. And this must have been at about 9 o'clock. I did an Instagram live, so I'll be able to check the actual time that I was doing it. But it was so quiet. It was almost like, and the roads were really quiet when I came back up. And obviously I've got the view of the ocean here, but there's a road that runs right in front of where I live. And it was so quiet during that period of time. So I do feel that there is this division of people. There are a lot of people, I've seen hundreds of people on my Instagram, particularly, that are in London, that are doing things like that. There are also lots and lots of people that are looking for any cock up that there may have been through the footage. I'm in a group whereby somebody shared that Sky News was talking about the Queen has been laid in state for 4 years rather than 4 days.
Yeah, so I picked up the same thing. It was just a slip of the tongue. It's not a hidden code that 4 years. She hasn't been dead 4 years. It's 2 maximum. So it's just he meant 4 days. Yeah.
I don't know about that, Mahoney. We'll agree to disagree on that one.
Well, no, I think that was a slip of the. Maybe, but for me, again, maybe I'm slipping back into the scientific, and I didn't mean to pick a fight with Lucy. I thought you were going to agree with me on that point, but it's possible.
Oh, we're not having a fight. We're just having a difference of opinion. It's
that's what women say when there's a fight.
Oh gosh! Now here's your emotional trauma coming out again, Mahoney. I love it. I love it when your trauma comes up, because then I get like my hands start rubbing together so that I can help fix you. Just kidding. No, so from my perspective, like, I'm open to anything being the truth. Genuinely, I'm open to anything. And I think, I used to be such a passionate, my way is the right way 2.5 years ago, which is why I lost my Facebook account. But now I'm open to any of it. Like literally, I'm open to any of it being the way that it is. As far as I know, it might have been a couple of weeks ago, it might have been a couple of years ago, it could have been 10 years ago for all I know. And in all honesty, I'm okay with whatever that is. Like everything's happening in exactly the way that it needs to be. I just don't have any attachment to it.
I agree. Yeah, yeah. Me either. I'm just going to mute myself because I have the cough, Lucy. Or you can take a little slurp or whatever you're slurping.
Right, what can we pick a hole in Mahoney for now?
It's important that we let people grieve in their own way,
Exactly.
which is where I was going to go next. So let them get on with it. Let's move past. It's going to become a distant memory very soon. So I'm not going to try to push my opinions or my thoughts or my feelings about this. Guys, do we need to do the grieve? Everybody grieves in their own way. Dealing with pain, some people reach for the paracetamol, some people go into meditation, some people get that part of the thumb all pushed in.
So
some
what
people
what
reach
I
for a bottle
quite
of whiskey.
liked. What?
Yeah.
Sorry, what do you say?
Some people reach for a bottle of whiskey when there's pain involved.
Who would that be, Mahoney?
I don't know.
We had a hilarious conversation yesterday about that, didn't we?
Which part?
About when you said, "Oh, have you got a vodka on the go?" or something like that. I won't throw you under the bus. I'll throw myself under the bus. I won't throw you under at this point. Or you don't remember it, no?
I don't remember actually. Yeah. There's that many insults flying around. I forget each and every individual one.
Bullshit. So, actually, I just want to say to you, you actually quite surprised me on the day of the passing of the Queen when it became public knowledge, because I thought that you would be, yes, we're moving forward, you know, in alignment with all the geopolitical stuff and everything that's been going on. But actually, you proved to me how empathic you were that day. You weren't looking at it from human Mahoney perspective. You were feeling it from your soul. And I think I said it to you, and I'm going to say it publicly now, but I was really proud of you for that. The fact that you were going, wow, this is quite weird for me, you know, because I should be feeling that, but actually I'm feeling this and I'm going to honor this. And it blew me away a little bit.
Oh, well, thank you. It wasn't something I actually gave a conscious thought about. It was, you know, I find when I don't think and I say things, then it tends to be much more connected with my consciousness towards my soul. Yeah. No shit. You see, she's straight in there. You heard it, guys. There, you're my witnesses attacking me. I do feel sadness for people, you know. When people are inappropriately happy. I'm trying to think who else. You know, when like a superstar has something bad happens to him, or Justin Bieber had a video going around. Well, I don't know if it was real or not, where he had some sort of strange stroke-looking thing going on, and people made fun of him. And I just thought, you know, it's inappropriate. I can laugh at funny things, but I'll give you a good one. Yesterday, at the airport, do you remember I sent you a sneaky little picture? I said, look at this guy in front of me. Well, that guy came on my radar because there was a guy with a twitch, and he had some sort of, it's either a little bit of Tourette's or he's a little bit autistic, and he was freaking people out because he's walking up and down and he kept going with his hand, you know. And I saw that guy, his eyebrows went, what the fuck is that? You know, and somebody doesn't understand that the eyebrows, a man don't understand, must destroy. And he was watching this guy with obviously some form of social awkwardness, we'll say. I put it down to, I've seen it before, so a little bit of Tourette's, I think, when they get a little twitch. And he was talking to himself, walking up and down, was wearing weird things like long gray, like bank manager socks with a pair of slip-on those pool sandals or Speedo slip-on things you wear in swimming pools. He was wearing weird clothes, nothing matched, and he was obviously nervous, and he was talking to himself, and he made everybody else nervous. So, and you know, everybody was pushed away from him, and I thought, that poor guy, you know what I mean? He's having the courage to get on a flight by himself, and I was just about to get up and say, listen, are you okay? Have you flown before? You know what's going on? But I think he just kind of disappeared in the crowd. But I often feel the opposite emotion of what everybody else is feeling. You know, like a rat. There was another case where a rat was somewhere and they were killing the rat. And I was like, you don't need to kill it, just release it. You know, I pick up on that empathy, that emotion of whatever the underdog is. Even the guy that attacked me, Lucy, with that knife, I looked into his eyes and I saw his eyes were black with the devil, and I could see he was absolutely terrified because I just overpowered him. And I really felt you were with me in Spain that day when I came back, and I said, I really feel guilty that he made me put me in a situation where I had to inflict physical pain on the guy to stop this attack. And it really took all. You remember how much it affected me. You were like, brush it off, don't worry about it. But I do get that.
Absolutely. It's very interesting that a lot of people that have been possessed by drugs and things like that, their behavior is becoming very erratic right now, because it is time to heal. And you had that incident, which was pretty scary, happen, and there's been a few other things. A lot of people have been messaging me about different bits and pieces, and it's very important to look at these for what the message is that they are giving to you. And I know that this is something that I probably challenged you quite significantly on in that situation, because I was, asking you to look at what you needed to take from that scenario. And it's very difficult when you've been attacked, things have been stolen from you, or attempted robbery or attempted theft, that kind of thing, to actually be able to take yourself to the point where you can actually look at why this happened to you, not from a victim perspective, but from what's the bigger picture here? What's the message that I'm getting? And actually, David, that is a really beautiful segue into what we're going to be speaking about today, which is around connecting the dots. And there's been so much that has happened. I've been back from Spain, 2 weeks tomorrow? 2 weeks tomorrow?
It feels like more. Actually, it feels like a while.
Do you miss me?
I miss the fun we have, yeah. And we have, you know what, we didn't, the other thing, folks, this is for the viewers' perspective, is one of them, one of your little quirks, Lucy, is that just when you think we've got to where we are, something else will come up. You'll stop the car and go over here, and it opens up another corridor of investigation. It's never going to end. So I felt like it ended too quickly because we hadn't finished these other new avenues, these new doorways, these new leads, these new codes that we were getting. So we have to make another plan because we're not finished here. So it's a bit like, I suppose you call it the post-holiday blues. Imagine if you're working in a place 9 to 5 and you save your money up and you go to Ibiza or Mallorca and you come back and you're like, okay, I'm a bit depressed now, because the stuff
that's called the Ibiza flu in my world, Mahoney.
Yeah, I mean, I have it all the time too, but the stuff we were uncovering, and when we got the torches lit inside that castle, and we were saying, hey, look at these
one of my favorite things. One of my favorite. I mean, there's so many favorite times that I had with you, but what's been really fascinating is you are absolutely bang on. This doesn't stop, and there's a few people that have seen me at work. Not very many people, because I'm quite private about the stuff that I do, which is why it's beautiful that we're filming it now so that people can get a bit of an insight. But and by the way, guys, that's Divine Activations Adventures on Telegram. If you want to join us, that's where we're sharing all of this stuff. But it is the way that I work. And David, since I've got back from being over with you, I've been like, we got to go here, we got to go there, we got to go there, we got to go there. Like, we've now got probably about 20 places, and it's forever building, isn't it? And this beautiful, and I love the fact that Linda's just typed it, the beautiful connection that we've got with each other is I will tap into something, I'll share it with you, and then you'll go bang, 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 and almost just open it up to another level. And then I'll run away with that and do some of the energetics on it, bring it back to you. And what I love about you, even though I roll my eyes every single time, is that you bring it back into the human. And I'm like, just let me float, Mahoney. And he's grabbing onto my ankles and pulling me back. And I'm like, let me go, let me just float, honestly. But that's why this works, right? It is the balance. This is the balance that we need. You are much more grounded than me. Much more grounded. Although what I do find very interesting about you is this, it's not ignorance, it's this denial of the power and the journey that you're on. And it's almost like you deny it a little bit because I don't know. I don't know
I
why you do
no,
it,
it's
actually.
it's
Why do you?
humility. It's humility. I mean, I'm still coming in. I don't like compliments. Oh, you're amazing, guy. Oh, thank you so much for what you do. It's like, all right, I'm all right with that. And it's like you're saying, hey, you've no idea the powers you've got. Yeah, okay, it's humility. I mean, I just get on and do it. It's hard to describe, to put into words how it makes. I mean, I'm beginning to get it because there's just too many strange coincidences, and like what happened at the airport. We'll probably get into that as well, I
Yeah,
suppose.
we'll get into that in a sec.
But here's a good example for the viewers. We go to this ancient Roman city that I'd never been to before. I got told about it about 2 days before I went, and I couldn't remember the name, although I knew where it was. So there was no downloading in files. Lucy didn't know where it was. And literally, she's walking up, and there's a part of one of the teasers where he said, I want to say something, but I feel a bit silly. And then you say, are you recording? I say, yeah. And then I stopped recording because I thought you were going to say, something. I don't know, it could be anything. And then you said to me, why am I getting the name Julius Caesar here? And I'd literally just been looking at that and said, holy shit. I said, in 48 BC, Julius and his son Augustus Caesar fought a battle on this ground against the two brothers from Pompeii, and tens of thousands of men were killed here. And there's no way you would have known that. So this is the sort of thing that happens when we're together, guys. She'll do stuff like that, and I'll either know it already and keep my mouth shut, or it'll just come to light like this. So there's always a continuously keep opening, Lucy, the work. Yeah. However, sorry to just put one line on there. We've now identified some of the places because we've been going from 3 to 5 to 7 to 2. We've been jumping the numbers a bit. And I've said, look.
Who, us?
Yeah, we've been jumping over the locations a bit. I said, let's go back and start from 1, so we understand what 2 and 4 mean. We have to go to 1 and 3. Yeah. So I'm trying to ground Lucy and say, all right, well, we can do that, but let's go back to square 1 so we know where we're going, and so we can patch it all together easier. Is that true? Is that true sentence what I've just said there, you think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the deal that you and I have got is that you know the history on places and I don't want to know it. That's the deal that you and I have got. And I want to know it once I've done what I do, but until I've done my bit, I actually really want to test myself. I like being pushed. I like being tested. And it's quite uncomfortable sometimes because your human brain will kick in and you'll be like, oh, what if I'm getting all of this wrong? But that's the whole point of why we're doing this filming, isn't it? So that I can share with you what I'm picking up on from an energy perspective with absolutely no way that I'd know that information. Then you come in with the knowledge that you've got, and then we piece things together. And it has been a bit scattered. Because there are so many places that are calling me. Like I'm being pulled every which way. I'm being pulled to New Zealand. I'm being pulled to the Middle East. I'm being pulled to Europe again. I'm being pulled all over the place. So David is like got hold of one of my ankles when I'm flying out there in the universe, and he's just bringing me back in, and we're getting a really beautiful plan. And I feel that what I shared with you over this weekend, David, you are absolutely bang on. We are now getting a footprint of which we can follow. And we know that there is one role particularly, not that we're going to speak about it here because it's just not the right place or the right time. It's too dangerous to speak about it essentially. But what we've been shown a very, very important role that we've got to do together this lifetime. And it's going to be freaking amazing to share that with everybody when it's done, right?
When it's done, absolutely. Yeah. People won't believe it either. Can you imagine the stick we're going to get? It's going to be brilliant. Wait, that's true, man. No way. Come on. You think we're stupid?
Yeah, and that's half the fun of it, right? Is, people often ask me, I love it when a man says to me, so, I meet people all over the place, but I love it when I meet a man and he's like, so what is it that you do, Lucy? And I'm like, shit, where do I start? I can't just say anything normal because I don't do anything normal anymore. And I have to kind of like test the water for the amount of information I can give people. And in all honesty, this is the beautiful thing about where we're going. Like, labels don't need to exist. You know, it's down to you and us and the people that you love and the people that you follow and the people that you trust to help you connect the dots. And I know, you know, I met David on the 8th of May, Charlie's event was, wasn't it? So it must have been the day before, the 7th of May of this year. Now, when I met him, he bowled out the airport like a smart ass, you know, gave me some shit when he'd never met me before. And that was it. Do you know what I mean? That's all I knew of him. It wasn't until the next day, really, when I'd spoken on stage that you and I had a connection, that we actually spoke, and we were like, wow. And that's when I got the message of, you two are going to go on a massive journey together.
I didn't get that at all. I remember coming out of the airport and then Tara saying, will you drive? I was like, all right.
Yeah, you're a bit of a smart ass. You were like, well, who are you? I was like, all right, that's polite, isn't it?
I told you, go get me a coffee, girl.
It was like I was talking to Tara about soul contracts, and you were like, oh, I like that. Oh, I like that. Yeah, I like that. I like that word. And I remember I was like, okay, right, he's getting it a little bit. And then it was when I finished speaking and before I left that night that I got the download of, you were the person that was going to be doing this kind of stuff with me. And here we are.
You know, I'm bad at that because even in my youth, I'd walk into a bar and my friend said, oh, he's aggressive, or she's checking out. I'd say, who? I'm completely normally oblivious to kind of, I'll notice if someone's got an aggressive energy off them, but I don't notice anybody else. And I kind of just go there and get on with what I'm supposed to do. And then as interaction happens, I'll do it. But I'm not one of these guys that, you know, turn around and say, so how you doing, baby? we were so busy that day. We had a car full of stuff. Off we go, running to somewhere across the country. Charlie's not organized. We're in a house. Then all these other weird people turned up. I said, who they've all, I've now discovered, are all really big truthers. But I mean, I just kind of was doing my own thing and not really on the big circuit. And Tiana, I called her up the other day and I said, holy shit, what a great video you've done. And you get to, I'm guilty of that. You know, never treat a book by its cover, I suppose, is a good expression.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're all hidden secret assassins these days, aren't we? We're all wearing these skin suits so we don't recognize each other, but our souls are starting to recognize each other, which is obviously why it's so important that Soul School is taking place this weekend. So Lizzie's put, when I first met you both, I assumed you had known each other for years. That's how strong your connection was. And that's true. That's the truth. Yeah. And that's why a lot of people get confused about us, because we do have a connection that most people would really, really like. You know, a lot of people would pay good money for this connection. You can fuck off. I can see your face then. Oh, I'm still hurting, is it?
Yeah. When I laugh hard, it hurts.
They would though. People would give a lot to have the connection that you and I have, which is why, you know, people go on this journey of, you know, making assumptions. And obviously you're lusting after me again, David, you know.
Listen, I think it's great to have a male and female relationship where you take the sexual tension out of it, because most women and most men always say, oh, you can never have a male friend, or you can never have a female friend before you're trying to get her into bed. And I've maintained really good relationships with many women over the years that have only ever been platonic.
You have one night stands with.
Until I get on the whiskey and then it all changes. No. No, because you get to know them and respect them, you know. And then you've got other situations like I tell you, it's a really great one. This is a weird one for guys in Spain. If you have a friend and he's got a Spanish girlfriend, you say, oh yeah, where are you? Down the beach. Come and have a beer, Mahoney. Off we go. You go down there and his girlfriend's topless, and you're just like this, you know. It's really awkward that she's standing or sitting at the beach completely topless, as I'd say 70% of Spanish women do. They walk around and talk because they've got brand new fake boobs. They want to show everybody, so they're standing there in front of you, and you know you've got your drink, and you go, yeah. It's really nice. Yeah. I like your sunglasses. And then you got to go to your friends and say, listen, can you do me a favor? Tell your missus to put a top on, man. You know, things like that.
I bet he's not really, ladies.
Happens all the time.
This is the story he tells us.
Awkward situations.
Well, I've been to the beach with you on a couple of occasions, and you are very respectful of people. I'm going to be honest. I just like pulling his leg, ladies. I really do like. I really do just like to keep him on his toes, because he needs a woman like me in his life that keeps him on his toes.
It's important that people can understand that you can have platonic relationships. It's all about how secure you are as a person. And, and I think you've got to make it very clear what your intentions are, because, you see it through the television and the media, Lucy, oh, you're in the friend zone. What the fuck is the friend zone, man? If you have an attraction to someone, tell them. If you don't, tell them. Playing games with their emotions and then all of a sudden ambushing that person, it doesn't work. You need to have a good relationship, and that's the feminine and masculine that we're trying to show and discuss and educate people on. You can have a female friend, you can have a male friend.
You make me laugh with the way you describe things. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Anyway, moving on from that. So we had this really interesting connection that has now led on to what we're doing, and this is just one element of what we're going to be creating going forwards. We're going to be creating a membership. We're going to be taking people with us on these journeys at some point in the future as well, which is really exciting. A lot of people have shown interest in that. So this is just like the starting point of what's going to be coming in the future, and we're just going to let it evolve as it needs to. But I know there's been many scenarios since I left you a couple of weeks ago, whereby there's been lots of different connections, and we've been, you've been connecting some of the dots, and I've been connecting lots of different dots, but they're all starting to come together, aren't they? And let's talk about that person that you met at the airport yesterday.
Oh, this was a brilliant story, guys. So Bristol Airport, I go through Fast Track. I didn't even know I'd paid for it, and I saw it on there, and Fast Track, I've got that, because I never buy that. I'm too tight, Lucy. I'd rather keep the £7. So fast track through the airport, first time in I don't know how long. And there's a guy kind of hanging around on my right side, and I can see he wants to have a chat. And you know what airports are like. Some people don't fly very often, and they get all excited. Oh, would you believe the line was that long? Or they could say anything, So you can spot the types that want to chat, the chatty Cathy types. So I didn't take much notice of them, because I had Bristol Airport. If you leave one bottle of a shampoo that you picked up in a hotel and you don't put it in the plastic amazing Ziploc bag, then it takes about 45 minutes for them to slowly swab your entire luggage like you've been in the Middle East for 10 years making your own explosives. So I was careful. So I was faffing about. And so I didn't really give him that airport security line chat. So I just got on, went through security, did my bits and pieces, got out, put my belt back on. And then I go look at the board and say, oh, fuck, man, it's 2 hours delay. So I said, right, let's go for a pint. So I go upstairs to the bar, order a pint of Guinness, and here he is, the same guy standing in front of me. He's one person more advanced. He's first, and I'm next. It's him again. And he turns around, and it's the same thing. It's like this wanting to chat. So I said, how are you, mate? Is your flight delayed? Yeah, I'm going to Alicante. Yeah, I'm going to Malaga. How long? Yeah, 2 hours. Me 2 hours. So I said, what are you going to Alicante for? And he says, well, I'm actually going there because there's a sacred site I have to go and visit. I went, cheeky little smile. I was like, oh, yeah. I said, yeah. He said, yeah, I was in Ireland recently as well, and I went to see some sacred stones. I said, where were they? And he said, Clonakilty. Well, Clonakilty is the next neighboring town from where I was from. I said, oh. Then he said, just before that, I went to see stones in the UK. And I said, the real ones? He said, maybe. What do you know? I said, well, it isn't Stonehenge.
Oh, you've listened to me. You've paid attention, Mahoney.
Aylesbury. How do you say it?
Aylesbury.
And he went, oh. So we're both, and he's saying, and he's going, oh, and he's saying stuff to me. I'm going, oh. So I said, well, what do you do? He says, well, he said, I'm a clairvoyant. I work on the spiritual world. I was like, oh. So as we're getting our food orders, we're moving down the line and chatting. What does he say to me? Something there. He says something. I said, And it suddenly dawned on me, Lucy, I'd been an idiot. I said, what do you, I said, he's a psychic clairvoyant who's just been visiting ancient stones. I said, I've just been to the ones in Spain. He said, what ones in Spain? So he didn't know about them. I said, you're an idiot. Not only was the guy at security next to you, and you could feel that there was an attraction to start a conversation or a pull, you ignored it because you were doing that. Now he's at the bar and you're getting another one and you're nearly going to ignore it again. I could hear my voice and I said, mate, I said, listen, let's keep this down because everyone's this thing. I said, come on, we've got to have a chat. So we spent 2 hours in the airport bar. Poor guy was trying to eat his whatever he was, and I was just drinking the Guinness, asking another question. We talked about arcs, we talked about ancient stones, we talked about Avalon, King Arthur. He knew a lot about that. He's done some really good research into that. He's channeling from he's talking about, he called it the Sophia codes, and we hit about 20 subjects in 2 hours, and I was like, oh my god. I said, how cool is this? He said, yeah. He said, he was like, everything he hit me with, I knew about, and I was giving my perspective back and forth. And then, of course, he mentioned arcs. I start talking about Katie, and he was like, "What?" I said, "Avatars and this." So, but the problem is when you meet these really intelligent people, where you both got so much, you just touch on this and you're skipping. Oh, what about this? What about this? And what about this?
Yeah.
So I slowed it down and got a lot of intel out of him. And as he said goodbye, we stood up, a nice little hug. Said, brother, amazing to meet you. What an absolutely fantastic guy. And super tuned in, Lucy, the stuff he was telling me, and everything was resonating. I was like, you know, my favorite one, I'll share this with the audience. I said, have you been jabbed then? He said, am I been jabbed? He said, I said, well, what are we going to do about all these other people, that the hundreds of millions that are being jabbed? He says, you know what I've been channeling, what they keep showing me. That's his exact words. He said, a lot of soul contracts are being renegotiated now because the original contract that people made when they come down, he said they didn't want to participate. Now they do. And the elders, source, are accepting a lot of people wanting to renegotiate the contract, saying, I do want to participate in this great awakening. And he said, as the vibrational frequency increases in all of us as we get to our different levels and we absorb and let this happen, our bodies will become our own med beds and heal ourselves and push out the toxins.
Exactly what I've been saying all the way along. That's really that's really interesting.
I said, how good is that? And I said, you know what, that completely feels, I was, a little tear in my eyes, like, that's the answer for all these poor souls that were tricked into taking this liquid poison.
It's interesting. It's interesting because you didn't tell me that bit about the med bed, but that's something that I've been speaking about on my conscious conversations for the last 18 months. I don't necessarily feel the physicality of them is important because it's going to come from the inside out. So that's really beautiful. What I loved about that situation, because you were buzzing about it, weren't you? You were blown away by it. You were so happy. And what was so interesting is that you sent me his card and he was like, it's like talking to you. But what was so funny is that his name, and I'm not going to give his name because I don't think that's appropriate right now. I think when we speak to him and whatever, then we can obviously give his name. But his name was a message for me. So for something completely different that I was doing, that name was a messenger for me. So by David, and as I just said that, we had 144 viewers on here, which is just hilarious because obviously 144 is a big number. So when David sent it over to me, I was like, oh my God, that's so interesting. But for me, I'm like, oh shit, he's just connected a dot of this that I've been doing over the last couple of days. So without knowing, because I didn't talk to David about what I was doing because I knew that he was busy doing, family stuff and doing stuff that he needed to be over here for. So I was connecting all these dots and having this whole map lined out for me. And David is then giving me messages about, certain names that have been brought up so that I can then step forwards with the stuff I was doing. So it's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I was shocked. I was like, are you, I do this. I look up and say, are you fucking kidding me? Really here? And it never stops amazing me how they put the right people at the right place at the moments where you're not expecting it, and you've got it. I nearly missed it, Lucy. Imagine if I'd missed that. What an idiot! Nearly missed it, and that's why they had to do. That's why they had to do it a second time. It's like, oh man, send him over. I know where he's going. Delay the flight. Send him up to the bar. Mahoney will be up the bar for sure. And
alcohol. That's the carrot.
No, I could have. I had something else, but I just fancied a pint of Guinness. That's all it was. But an amazing man. He's agreed to do follow up with some more info and maybe an interview. I asked him, is he ready to go public with this? He said he is. He's been doing the work for years, Lucy, and a lot of the stuff that you and a few other people I've been listening to have made public. He was talking about by the year 2025, we're going to see the best of humanity. There's going to be pockets of communities that are just going to be okay. We don't want to do anything to do with all of this other shit. We're going to grow our own vegetables. We're all trading and bartering. He says we're going to see the best of humanity.
I feel it's going to be sooner than that now, actually. I feel that we're shifting so rapidly. Humanity is ascending and really stepping into their own. I actually feel that that's going to happen sooner than that, which is really exciting, really exciting.
He said he was awakened. You're going to laugh at this. He said, I was woken up at 2:22. I was like, all right, 2:22. And there was some massive energy shift at 2:22 in July, he said. And he said he woke up and then he was like, oh, what is it? And they didn't send me anything. Then he woke up again at 5:55. And then I don't remember what he shared with me. It wasn't, I don't think it was, he shared he was invited to witness a galactic meeting between the Galactic Federation and all of the members, all standing together, more or less holding hands. Now, some of these beings don't have hands as we could describe them as hands. And he said they were all touching each other, and there was one draconian in the middle that was holding some form of contract, that was agreeing to a contract, signing a contract about helping the new people, the new Galactic Federation, undo all of the darkness that they'd been doing for centuries here. And I said to him, well, what about all these people that have done all these terrible things on the planet, all of these dark that have been enslaving humanity? I said, are they going to be executed? Are the souls going to be recycled? He said, no. He says, that's a very barbaric judgment, isn't it? That puts them up against the wall or kill them or stab them. He said, it solves nothing. The soul just goes on to another. He says, the really, really dark ones, their souls are going to be transplanted into some sort of servitude for all the people that they cause so much misery and suffering for. So as these people that were killed and tortured, their souls are put in a very nice place. These other souls have to spend their lifetime appeasing them, in not so much as a groveling, but, to understand their pain. Everything gets recycled. There is no brutality of how we see it, execution and finalization. He said, death is nowhere near. There are many worse fates than death out there that you could endure as a soul, as a light being. So he told me some very enlightening and also some very positive things for humanity. And it's things that people wouldn't necessarily want to hear. They want to say, oh, are we all going to get rich so I can go out and buy a Maserati? That's material bullshit. What's more important is, are my kids going to grow up in a safe environment where the food and water is clean?
Yeah, absolutely.
How more important is that?
And I feel a point that you were saying before you went into more detail around this chap is a really important point that I think we should probably close out on. Imagine if you hadn't spoken to him. Now, the what I would like everybody to think about is, the times that you're tutting at the person in front because they're going so slowly, or, you're wanting to get past somebody or do something, just stop and ask yourself, what if it could be a moment whereby you are supposed to connect with that person and get the next steps of your journey? Because I truly, truly, truly believe that every single person and every single animal, every single thing, place, everything comes to you as a messenger. And it's very important that we start to recognize that that is what we are here. Like, you know, I live in Bournemouth, right? So there's a lot of seagulls and there's a hell of a lot of pigeons. I wouldn't think, oh my God, there's another seagull. That's a sign for me. No. But yesterday I had a pigeon sat right on my balcony and it didn't leave for 2 hours. That is a sign for me. You know, that pigeon was there to give me a sign. But I'm not just going to walk down a road and think everything's for me. But when you see things that, you know, be open to it. Be open to all of these animals and conversations and people being a sign for you, being a messenger, because that is how the dots get connected. That's how Mahoney, you know, you were quite blown away after this conversation yesterday, weren't you? Like,
Absolutely, yeah.
You really were. So it's really beautiful that you, although you probably weren't in the mood because your flight was delayed and you probably just wanted to sit and have a pint and just not deal with humans.
I loved it. But go on, Lucy, you go finish. Go on.
But you trusted that this person appeared for a second time in front of you and you went with it, and look at the gold that took place.
And it's only just starting. This guy, you know, we haven't even opened the chest and rummaged around the bottom to the left-hand side underneath all the books yet in that chest, Lucy. No, the point I want to make is yes, I mean, there was a moment of like, it's like walking down the road and you just get you need to get hit and you say to yourself, oh my God, imagine if I'd just been there a second earlier, I would have been hit by that truck or bike. And I had the same flash of fear go through me, thinking, oh my God, I could have so easily missed that opportunity, but I didn't. And the divine guides us into these situations, and this is why I'm humble about it, because man, the amazing stuff that happens. And I then started thinking, oh Christ, I wonder how many situations I've missed because of this. Like, oh, I don't want to talk to him, you know, messages from strangers. I've got about 30 of these stories in my life, which were life-changing moments. I mean, the another great one, I'll try to be really quick, is in 1989 when I was living in Philadelphia. I had a girlfriend I really didn't like. She was a moaning, complaining. I was looking for
a lot of girlfriends you don't like. It's weird.
Yeah, I'm a very attractive man, Lucy.
It's
anyway,
weird.
I was only 19. Come on, what are you going to do at 19? So we were walking, and I heard some of the older people out there will know it's Kid Creole and the Coconuts was a band in the 80s, right? So I could hear this music playing. I was like, oh my God, I recognize that. And it was a free outdoor concert in Philadelphia. So I went down there, sat on the outside concrete bleachers, right? And the girl I was with, who I'm still friends with today, by the way, I want to go home. What is this rubbish music? This is terrible. I said, would you relax? Just let me have this minute. And I was looking at two women in front who were having a really good time, about 4 rows down. And I made a mental note saying, you know, that I should be with them. I should be with her. She's loving it. So I went home. Anyway, 4 years later, I'm driving through the desert in Nevada with who is the mother of my son, who's now 25. And the radio stopped catching a station. And all of a sudden it hit a station. It was Kid Creole and the Coconuts. And we both leaned forward to turn it up. I said, oh, and she's from Holland, by the way. I said, oh, you know this band? She said, yeah. And then I said, did you go to see them in Philadelphia? She said, yes. I said, were you wearing a red wine wrap top? And it was her. And I remember that moment 4 years ago saying, I need to be with her. I need to be with her. And it ended up I was.
Amazing.
I had an amazing relationship and a son, a fantastic kid I've got.
Yeah,
so there's moments in your life like this, guys, where you never know where the signs are going to come from and what door is going to open. Just have the courage to investigate it.
Can I just go on a little bit, because there was a point I was going to make, and I think it's very important that people recognise, let's say you meet somebody and you think, oh my God, this is a divine connection, this is amazing, we're supposed to meet, we're supposed to connect and whatever, and then 6 weeks later you're like, oh my God, that person was an asshole. Remember, because it happens, right? Remember, people come in to remind you of things. They teach you lessons. They humble you. They take you on a journey. It's not always going to be love or, the outcome that you might create in your mind. And I think it's very, very, very important that we recognize that everybody is a messenger. Now, if you need healing in a certain area, people will come in. you know, me and you speak about this quite often, don't we? I find it hilarious. Some of the things you say, I'm like, wow, that's brilliant. I needed to heal that, and now I've been able to heal that situation. You know, so look at everybody in that way. It's very, very important, rather than actually looking at them as the end goal or the you know, the gospel or something. Just look at it as we're all here to learn lessons from each other. We're here to grow, and some people come into your life for a long time, some people come in for a very short period of time, and just be open to that. You know, I think that's the biggest message, where this connecting the dots, the dots are being connected to heal.
Yeah, and to guide you on your journey. And I'm never ever, I'm always so humble when the divine puts me in these situations. And this is why I say, like, why me? This is so fantastic. It happens to me. I don't understand what I've done to deserve this. This is why I struggle with, you know, you don't understand your powers and stuff. But every day, small little things like that. But the humbling is and also an important part of it, to accept it and say, okay, you know, I'm so blessed that it's happened to me. And also you can choose the negative things as well. You know, I mean, that attack that happened on me, I'm even grateful for that, because somehow, somewhere, it's changed me, changed him. You don't know the ripples it's going to make. Yeah. So that I don't think there's no such thing as a negative, really. It depends on how you handle the situation. A problem is just a possible solution. It's you being able to shine your creativity to overcome that problem.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think this has been a really helpful conversation.
I don't. I think it was just a load of wasted time, Lucy.
And this, ladies and gents, is Raj. Raj is somebody that I have to put up with a lot.
Yeah. I've got a friend of mine who was raised in West London. He's an Indian guy. He's got this strange accent, half Indian, half English. And he says the most inappropriate things, and he doesn't realize it. Like, you'll say, why don't you just go and ask those two fatties to move up and we'll all squeeze in?
And I have to put up with this daily.
So it's quite funny. We bring Raj on the road with us, and
we don't. David does. even your son was like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, my son was doing it. My son's now on his way to Argentina. And he says, he sent me a message saying, yeah, I got straight through Heathrow Airport because I knew after the security in it.
Oh, God, I'm going to have words with him as well.
Yeah. So, guys, let's recap, Lucy. What would be the recap in a minute and a half? Because we always go like this, don't we?
Yeah, we do. So I guess eyes open, heart open, allow the universe to guide you, be open to it. Be very, very open to something that you want not being for you. Sometimes something that you want, the universe has something much better lined up for you. So we have to be open to this.
Are you making that reference to someone that you met and then 6 months later you can't stand them?
No, but if that's what applies to you, then that's fine.
No, I maybe I zoned out there for a second, but. The recap is important. I think we should do this every show. Actually, it just came over me that because we
nags me a lot as well, ladies and gents. Believe it or not, he nags me a lot.
I nag you. All right.
All right. Don't even go there, Mahoney, because I will embarrass you.
For me, let's move on quickly. Let's put a nice large piece of toast over that. For me, I think the recap would be to accept that messengers come in all shapes and sizes, whether it's a friendly face or an unfriendly face, or a rainy day or a sunny day. Just learn to watch for the signs, to read the signs, to accept these blessings that the universe gives you. Because, you know, there's many expressions in the language. You know, every cloud has a silver lining. There's plenty more fish in the sea. We have a lot of these expressions in our everyday language that will reinforce that. To say, you know, it's not always going to be a dark and stormy day. The sun will come and the storm will pass. You know, keep your nose into the storm, keep going till the waves get lower and the storm will break. For me, that's it. Just being able to, you know, understand that not all messengers will come clearly. They're disguised often in different forms, and have the courage and have the faith in your karmic journey that these messages are being sent for you to help you achieve that mission. that very special mission that you're on, because we're all on a very special mission. That's why we're incarnated in this lifetime in this body. That was pretty good one.
That was a bloody long roundup, but yeah. What he said, I zoned out.
Oh.
Just keep your eyes open. That's it. Keep your eyes open. Be open to receive. You know, set the intention every single day before you go out. Literally just say, bring me the signs. Bring me the signs, and I will immerse in what is being brought to me. And it's as simple as that. And then keep your eyes open. See the butterflies. See the ocean, see like whatever it is, and hear the noises that they're bringing to you, because they're messages for you. Yes.
Linda Hardman, answer that question. That's for you. That's a really good question.
Lucy, is this the same as letting go of friendships? Yeah, absolutely, Linda. And it is a really good question. For me personally, every single friendship has a shelf life. Now, that's going to sound very brutal and very cutthroat, but it's the case of it. You know, this scenario that we've been through in the last 2.5 years particularly has really created ripples so that we take stock of our life and we start making decisions. A lot of us, and I'd like to know how many of you this applies to, how many of you have got a friend that you don't really want to spend time with, but you do because, well, you might be bored on a Monday night, or, you know, maybe you've not got anyone to go for dinner with. Like, that's what we have had to come up for healing over the course of the last 2.5 years. And that's why we've got such a spotlight on it now. We do need to start recognizing that, you know, some of our besties, some of the people that have been stuck to us like limpets through our whole life are now starting to break away, because actually we're going off on different paths. And you know what, ladies and gents? It's okay. Mm-hmm. There will be other people that come in. There will be other people that show you the way. There will be other people that help you go on your path. It doesn't mean we have to hate these people or we have to abuse these people. We just say, wow, thank you for coming in. Thank you for being there through this part of my life. I love you, and I'm ready to receive the next now.
There's one thing that I think COVID has taught us, and that's we've all reevaluated what's important in our lives. Most people come back with family. I've noticed that there has been a lot of challenges for people's relationships being locked in there, but no matter what the outcome, it's made everybody reevaluate what's important, what they like and what they don't like. So there is a positive to that as well.
Absolutely. Thanks for pointing that out, because it was a good question. Okay, Mahoney, I'll let you go, my love. I'll see you on Friday.
Yeah, I'll be down Friday. Not sure what time yet. I've got to go in through a bit of a sneaky little way, just to keep them on their toes. You know, like a man like me, a lot of people trying to capture me, Lucy. So I got to keep them.
Christ alive, Christ. Did you see what I have to put up with, ladies and gents? You know, all of you think he's really easy to deal with. Oh my gosh. I'm going to put a camera up in the back of the car on the next trip.
We should do
hilarious. That. Some of the stuff we talk about, some of the stuff we get up to is absolutely hilarious. And the amount of times that his eyes roll when I go, can we just stop here, please?
Yeah, and you driving up behind, putting pressure on a poor guy in a really old car. Like we were going to kill him on that dusty road. Poor guy was nervous. Anyway, Lucy.
Listen, you can't throw me under the bus like that and then go, right, Lucy, bye everyone, I'm off now, ciao. No, it doesn't work like that. You took me down about 10 miles of rocks. Yeah. And rocks and rocks and rocks and rocks and rocks and some more rocks, Mahoney.
I was only joking. I was seeing how far I could get the joke to go, and you just kept going. So we did meet a very nice farmer, though.
Oh, we did. He was gorgeous, wasn't he? He was
very gorgeous. Nice farmer. He helped us navigate out of the wilderness.
And then we went back to Portugal.
Yeah. Thank you very much for tonight's show. It's been great, guys, catching up with all of you. For those who are going to be at Soul School, I really look forward to meeting you, and we'll talk next week. And stand by for some of the what are we going to call it? You can't really call it an episode or a show, or our adventures. The adventures that we've been documenting in Lucy's fascinating work.
I think it needs to be. At the moment, an episode feels right, because it is going to be the first chapter, isn't it?
I think it's going to say Lucy's episode. Lucy's had another episode.
All right, on that note.
Bye, everybody. I will see you very
Guys,
soon.
we love you to the moon and stars. See you on Saturday, those of you who are coming. And to those of you who aren't, we'll see you next Monday. Lots of love, guys. Take care. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.